Hey everyone, Shaedow here, and welcome to another Marvel Contest of Champions video. So in this video, we're going through Uncollected mode, Infinity Chaos, and we're going to go through all the chapters. Now normally, I'll do just maybe the last chapter, but we're going to try something a little different. So not only are we going to go through all the chapters, but we're not including every fight, because quite frankly, the fights leading up to the end fight are pretty boring, especially after doing Act 5.3. These fights are they're not even noted up really. All right, so what I'm doing is I'm only including the last two fights and perhaps a fight or two that I found interesting and wanted to comment on. Other than that, it's always going to be the last couple of fights of the chapter. Now, we had some technical difficulties, and in Chapter 1, and I think it was Quest 2, we don't have any recordings for that first run. I was a little bit upset, but it happens. I don't know why it just decided to stop recording, because I know I hit record. So in the later videos, I made sure that the record was still running several times during the run, and then I just edit it out. Alright, so here's the first big boss, and it's a King Groot looking somebody. Normally I do not have any problem with fighting King Groot, especially if I'm using Voodoo. But as you can see in this fight, it was a little bit different. You saw the nodes. This has a mechanic that I've not seen before, and I don't think has been in the game before. Our health switches every like 10 seconds. So when I first read that node, I'm thinking, okay, I know what I'm going to do. What I'm going to do is get beat up, you know, like I'm doing here, get really low health, then when it switches like that, I'll be able to take him out. But until he gets low health, I don't want to get hurt too much when I have the larger health pool, because I know that that health pool is what my health pool is going to be in the end if I execute this the way I'm planning. But things didn't go quite according to plan. Alright, so you'll see here that I'm just trying to get hit quite often. Now that his health is a little bit lower, I want to back off like you see here, and I'm scared to take a full hit. So I'm just trying to take a little block damage. His health got low here, so I'm like, okay, I'm just waiting for the switch. It switched. Now I go in for the attack, and I fire off my L3. And I'm like, this should finish him. Perfect. Everything worked great. But no, he's left. Now he has this special, so now I'm trying to get him out with block damage. It's switched. So I'm like, okay, let me back off. Let me just wait my chance, wait for that next switch. Just stay away from him, stay away from him. You know, okay, it's switched, so I should be able to go. No, he is still attacking and intercepted me. And then it switched again, and I'm like, okay, let me wait, block damage. And he took me out. I was so upset. This should not have been that hard. Okay, that little miscalculation on my part, where I thought that was going to be enough damage to finish him, that is what ended me, really. You know, if I had been able to finish the fight at that point, we wouldn't have been having this fight here. Alright, so I'm doing the same thing. I'm just, you know, trying to hit him when he has the low health pool. When it switches, I back off and just hope I don't die to a lot of block damage, and thankfully with Blade got that regen, and now I'm able to take him out once it's switched back. So a fairly simple strategy if you can execute it well. And as you saw, my first attempt, I didn't execute it well. If that Voodoo had been my 5-star Voodoo, ranked up and perhaps awakened, that fight would have gone much better. Okay, because that little bit of health that he had would have gotten taken out with my 5-star Voodoo if he was like rank 4, say. Alright, but it is what it is, and that was the final fight. We still went through without using any items. Alright, so next up, and like I said, I believe the quest 2 was skipped. I think it was quest 2. So this one, I think it's the first quest of chapter 2. I'm not sure, but I believe that is the case. You guys can track it better than I can. And you can see the path that I went down. And I purposely chose to fight Spider-Man because I know he is a headache for a lot of people, and I enjoy fighting him with Archangel just so I can bleed and poison him and take him out like that. Now granted, he's not a stacked one. Iceman is my go-to for fighting pretty much any auto evaders at this point in time anyway. I can't think of anyone that's a lot better. There are others that do well, and if I can get my Karnak up, not Karnak, although he also did well. He was my first counter to those auto evaders. You know, fire off his special 1, get that true strike, and go to work. But once I got Iceman, that's who I used. Now it's Killmonger. Also, you know, I don't think he's as good as Iceman, but he also seems to be quite good. Alright, so now we have this final boss, Nameless, and I already knew that I was going to have a little bit of a trouble. Now I saw the power shield, and I'm thinking, okay, good. You know, power shield, if I can get in some really good specials, it's going to be all over with, and I can end this fight pretty quickly. Alright, so that is why I chose Starkey, because I know that L2 of his is vicious. And so I'm like, okay, I might be able to fire off an L2, maybe 2 of them, and take him out. But I hate fighting Hyperion because he can go into one of those modes where he doesn't throw his specials. And if he started doing that a lot before I could even get to my L2, we could have a problem. Alright, so Starkey can also, you know, I think it's once every 30 seconds, fire off a heavy and do a power drain. But I'm still not good with doing that. What I usually try to do if I get into trouble is I try to parry him, fire off his L1 to stun him, and then fire off the heavy. It works sometimes, but like here, I thought I would do a lot more damage than I did there. So I'm just sitting there going, oh my goodness, this is why I do not like fighting Hyperion. But I'm still alive. I was surprised. So I'm just like, okay, good, we can get a little bit more damage in, you know, build up a few more poise charges, and just see what we can do here. But I'm sort of tilted a little bit. You can see my health, and so I'm just like, okay, I'm just going to try to get as much damage as possible, fire that off, stun him, and I should have gone for the special 1. But I saw that I had enough to kind of get him into a little bit of a stun lock, and I thought maybe if I can get that going, I could take him out. But I didn't have quite enough power to keep him stun locked, and I wasn't gaining enough. So I did a lot more damage than I thought I would after I took that L3 to the face, but I still got taken out by his second L3. So now I went in with Blade, and I'm like, okay, Blade should be able to finish him off here, you know, provided he doesn't do anything crazy like refuse to throw any special and go straight to his L3. But as you saw there, he was able to, he threw his special 1, and I'm just like, okay, I just want to get that special 2 of Blades off, and there he goes, boom, and down he goes. I figured that I only needed 1 of those because his health was pretty low, and so that is that quest done. Not too bad, honestly, and again, no items used, so for me it's a win-win. Alright, so next up, as you can see, I skipped all of those fights. I took the path that was all the way to the far left. Alright, in case you were wondering. Those fights were very easy. Nothing too special. There were a couple of times where, of course, the game glitched out on me like normal. I just kind of accept that nowadays, and still try to get through it anyway. So you can see here, I'm fighting Voodoo, and Voodoo is no match for Archangel. Not even close. All that healing that he does in the beginning, if I get at least one neurotoxin on him, it's over with. If I can bleed him and start taking blocked hits, the poison is going to make sure that he doesn't heal a lot at all. Alright, so here we're facing for the first time, and I don't know anything really about her. Now, I have watched Seaton, so I did see some of her animation, but seeing it and actually fighting against it, two different things. I was worried about that True Strike because, of course, Spidey, that's who I'm thinking that I'm gonna, you know, finish her off with, and I'm like, man, that True Strike is gonna mess up his evade. So I go in first with Ghost Rider. Now, Ghost Rider is also a beast, especially teamed up with Blade. And I was surprised there because I actually blocked it and it didn't do a whole lot of damage. I'm not even sure if I evaded it or what. But I'm like, okay, well, maybe this won't be so bad. I didn't want to face her L2 though. I saw that L2 and I was like, good gravy. So I just kept trying to bait out that special one, and I'm just like, okay, boom. And it seems to be a little bit easier to evade than Magneto's special 2. Magneto's special 2 still catches me every once in a while. I don't know why, but it'll catch me. And it seems to do a lot of damage even if I block it. But hers, not so much. So now I'm feeling a little bit more confident at this point, and I'm just like, okay, bring it on. You know, I was able to evade that one, and I'm like, okay, this isn't going to be too bad at all. Unless I make a big mistake here, Ghost Rider should be able to take her out. Look at that. So you want to evade a little bit delayed, very similar to Iceman. Okay, so like you'll see her start going up like that, and you want to hold it and then dodge right there. Alright, so you don't want to evade right when she starts the animation. You want to wait for her to do that first half of the animation and then do your evade. Alright, so I think I might do it one more time here. Okay, one and then evade. Okay, hopefully that'll help you guys. And of course at this point I knew I was going to do that L3 and pretty much wreck her. So I actually one-shot her, and I was feeling good about myself, really. I was like, okay, we're doing pretty well with this Uncollected challenge so far. Alright, so that is that chapter done. Picking up them shards. Loving the rewards so far. Alright, so next up, I included this fight because I just have fun fighting Groot with Voodoo. The first time I fought Groot, I did not have a Voodoo. And I just love this. So what you do with Voodoo, of course, you don't fire off his special one immediately, but when you see all those buffs on Groot, ooh, look at that. That is why Groot took a restraining order out against Voodoo. He's pretty much a goner at this point. You know, it won't take him out completely, but that's fine because I have my L3. Currently I am running Mystic Dispersion 5, so that is why you saw when I did his special 1, I went straight to the L3. I think I probably would have, even had I not fired off that special 1. Even with all those buffs expiring on him, I would have gone up to my special 3. Alright, so now we've got, as I said before, the last couple of fights. You can see the boost here, and I'm looking at those special 1s, special 2s, and I'm like, okay, I'm a little bit familiar with her at this point in time, but I really have to make sure I evade and not block. But she's already at that special 2. And I am so surprised that I actually evaded that. That was the very first time I have ever tried to evade her special 2. Don't ask me to do it a second time. I don't know. And at this point, I'm sitting here breathing hard, and I'm like, I do not want to try to do that again. But because she can be bled and poisoned, Archangel, she's no match. The biggest problem here that I saw was being able to evade that special 2. That was the only thing that would have wrecked me. But as long as I could get past that one, I was pretty confident that Archangel would be able to take her down. Alright, so now we come to the last boss. And let me tell you guys up front, this one was a pain. This guy, you're gonna see my learning experience. That's all I can tell you. So I go in first with Ghost Rider, and right now I'm trying to learn his animations. Okay, so what you're seeing here is my learning process. You know, I didn't go in with the champion that I figured I was going to use to take him down. Instead, I wanted to just practice his animations. That's it. You know, get familiar with them. That defensive is really annoying. Okay, so that easy. I was able to parry him. So at this point, I'm like, okay, his special 1, not a problem. You saw that I was able to intercept him right there. So now his special 2, which I haven't even seen. And look at this, 27k crit. A 27k crit. He said, get that out of here. I was, at the beginning, I was like, okay, the first part of the animation looked pretty easy, and I'm like, okay, you just have to keep your distance. But I didn't catch that very last tail end of his animation, and I went in too early and got wrecked. That was beast mode. Even though I got wrecked, I couldn't be mad. But that right there, that pissed me off. Okay, because I wasn't able to move at all. I was sitting here blocking, and I tried to dodge back and nothing. So I actually turned my phone off, you know, force close, turn the phone off, reset it, and then went back in, because I didn't want to have to deal with that at the same time as trying to figure out and get used to this guy's animations. So you can see I haven't done a whole lot of damage to him, and he is very defensive. And look at that damage. He didn't hit me. That was a blocked hit. So if you guys are fighting him, try not to take any blocked hits. Boom, down I go. Now that was because after that blocked hit, I was scared, and I dodged back a little bit too early, and he followed me in. All that defensive thing didn't work then, because as soon as I dodged back, he came right after me. Alright, so then I'm coming in with Blade, and I'm just like, okay, boom. Look at how much damage I'm taking, and I'm just blocking here. Look at this. I got wrecked, and all I was doing was blocking. I sat here stunned, okay? I didn't know what just happened. Did I stop blocking? But you can see, if you guys go back, that my regen was active. So you know I was holding my block because the regen was active. And yet I still got wrecked. I'm like, oh my goodness. I went back looking at the node buffs to see if maybe there was something I missed. And I'm not sure if I missed something, but all I know is I don't want to take a whole lot of blocked hits against with this guy. All right, so now I'm going in with Starkey, and I'm about as warmed up as I figure I'm gonna be for right now. And look at that. Look at how much damage I took, and that was a blocked hit. And I went in and got wrecked. When I saw how much health I lost, I'm like, let me just try to get in a hit. And I wasn't able to do it. Alright, so now I actually used an item. The first time during this entire quest I used an item. I revived and healed up and went in with Archangel. Alright, and my idea here, you know, my thought was that I would bleed him, poison him, but as you saw there, the same thing that happened before, I got nervous, dashed back too early, and got wrecked. You know, the node says he's defensive, but he seems to be pretty aggressive when he want to be. Alright, so I basically used another item, revived again, healed Starkey up this time. And I'm just going to basically do my best to stay away from him, try not to take too many blocked hits. You saw I took a little bit of block damage there, and build up those poise charges and try to do as much damage as I could. Just look at that damage. So I'm trying my best not to take those hits, but sometimes when I dash back, it's not letting me, and I know better than to continue trying to dash back, because then I won't be blocking and he'll just wreck me. So here I go. For the first time, I finally survived long enough to get off his L2. And I'm like, okay, now I just need to survive long enough for it to do some, you know, decent damage. It's already done. And I'm like, okay, but this run at least, I did some work. And so I'm like, okay, I should be able to finish him off here. But, look at that. I am still on the ground, guys. I actually evaded, Starkey auto-evaded, and I'm trying to evade back. I was still on the ground when he hit me. There was no way that I could actually evade that. That happened way too quickly. I hadn't even recovered from that evade. So I was sitting there, I had to actually play it back to see how in the world I got wrecked right there. But whatever. We come in again, he has a little bit of health. I go in, and I'm like, okay, what's going on? Why is he still alive here? It's a tough somebody. Boom. I got him back for hitting me against my block all the time. I hit his block. And down he goes. That was a fight. That was a learning experience. I am not looking forward to 100%ing this particular quest. All the others, not a problem. But that one right there, no. Alright, now this one here, I chose eventually the rightmost path. Reason being, was it some grand strategy that I had after viewing all of the champions here, seeing what I was going to face, and I chose the rightmost path because I felt it was the most viable? No. The reason I chose the rightmost path is because it's the one that had that little level 2 health on it. That's all. No other reason besides that. Alright, so I skipped all of those fights. There was nothing interesting about any of those fights. And here we've come to not the second to the last fight, but you're going to have to face this guy, and it's a Black Panther Civil War. And people still have some trouble fighting him. Now, you saw that I was able to stun him in the beginning. I parry stunned him. That's because he didn't have that armor buff up. Okay, now that he has the armor buff up, you do not want to stun him. Now, I brought Archangel in here because I can bleed and poison him. But I forgot something. When those neurotoxins expire, they stun. So if the neurotoxins expire while he has that armor buff up, I'm about to get wrecked. And I'm like, oh man, please, please, please. But look at this. It stunned him, but he didn't have that armor up. Otherwise, I would have gotten wrecked right here. So now I'm kind of worried because I'm just like, oh man, I should be able to finish him off before I have to worry about expiring neurotoxins again. Alright, I don't want to get caught here, which is why I baited out that special one even though he didn't have a lot of health left, because I did not want to get caught. Alright, so now we have these last few. Now, here you need to think about this, and I'm going to show you each of the boosts that these guys put out. As you can see, that one, recovery. You want to think about who you're going to take in to really fight this final boss here. Now, no matter which one you choose first, you're going to have to eventually go through all of them. So what you have here is 4 champions, and each one is giving the final boss a boost. You have recovery, you have immunity to stun, you have immunity to bleed, and you have an immunity to poison. Alright, so for this first pass, I decided to take out that immunity to stun because I still need more practice fighting stun immune. I still have some trouble with it. And especially with Hyperion, or Nameless, I didn't want to have to deal with that as well. At least for this first run through. Alright, so I know that Nameless, I don't know much about Nameless in particular, but Hyperion is immune to poison, but can still be bled. So I said, let me just go in with my Archangel. He should be able to do, you know, a good amount of damage anyway before he gets taken out. But this fight didn't quite go the way that I thought it would. Okay, so what you see here is your standard way to fight Hyperion. You try to bait out those specials and hope he actually throws them. Alright, so he's got his L2, so now I'm concerned because this is where he can sometimes do some craziness like right here. So I'm like, okay, I'm done for. But wait, what just happened? He didn't fire off that L3. I thought I was wrecked. Okay, so I pushed him to his L3 again, you know, just thinking that I was trying to do as much damage as possible, but look again. I'm like, wait, does he not have the special 3 active? No, he doesn't. I did not know that going into this fight. I was like, whoa, okay, this has become much easier. A Hyperion that cannot fire off a special 3? Very easy to fight. I don't have to worry so much about anything, really. And down he goes. Without that special 3 and without having to worry about baiting out his special 1 and his special 2, it doesn't matter if he has that power gain. That was a very fun fight, and I'm going to remember that when I'm 100%ing this. Alright, so we've come to the final boss, our guillotine boss. Oh, I mean Nameless. You guys can see all the active buffs. Most of that wasn't a concern. Spectre, that was a little bit of a concern for my healing champions, Blade and Ghost Rider. But what really concerned me was her going unstoppable after her specials, but I have a plan for that. You can intercept, but I'm going to show you another way to handle her unstoppable after her specials. Okay, this guillotine is more aggressive, which can actually be very useful, especially if you are the intercepting kind. Alright, so first up, I went in with Blade. Okay, now I already knew that I wasn't going to take her out with Blade, but what I wanted to see was whether he could stop that unstoppable after her special attack. Now look at the damage he took, and all of it from just that block damage. Okay, but all I was trying to do is push her there, and look, the reason I got caught right there is because I was too busy looking to see if I saw the unstoppable, and I didn't. Alright, so next up I brought in Gwenpool. Yes, this guillotine is bleed and poison immune, but I'm trying to get some practice in. Alright, so now I'm going to show you guys how to handle her unstoppable. Alright, so we're going to bait this out. We're going to try to bait it out. Here we go. She goes unstoppable, and I just wait. That's it. Wait. Play the keep away game. This is how you have to handle Juggernaut if you don't have a Blade. Okay, so in the era before Blade, that is how we had to do. Okay, you can try to stun her, or you can just try to stay away from her until the unstoppable wears out. It doesn't last that long. Okay, so here I'm just getting into the practice of baiting her out and waiting out that unstoppable. Okay, but as you can see, you don't really want to take a lot of blocked hits, especially after a little while. She will just wreck you. Alright, so now we go in with Ghost Rider. Notice I'm going in with all the champions that I already know are not all that good against her. Okay, but each one of them is chipping away at her health. Alright, so you can see here, I baited out her special and then played keep away. And I'm just stunning her and wash, rinse, and repeat. And look at that damage. Just try not to take blocked hits if you can. And of course, if you're really good at intercepting, it's perfect. And I could have fought her stun immune style, and I probably should have, just to get the practice in. But I didn't. I was playing it safe. And just look at this. I gotta admit, they did make guillotine a pretty decent fight. You know, when I first saw that it was going to be guillotine, I was like, oh, this shouldn't be too bad. As you saw right there, no. You saw that unblockable? Mark and remember. I wonder how many of you guys will get that reference. Mark and remember. Alright, so we're coming in now with Starkey. And I feel like I'm pretty warmed up. I'm pretty confident in how I'm going to handle this. Standard Starkey, you know, you try to build up those poise charges. Look at the damage he is doing to her. That is just insane. Love my Starkey. If you guys don't have Starkey, sorry, but he is a beast. Look at that. I was able to take her down. That's not something that I do ordinarily. I actually had to think about that to get her away from that special 3. Then build up them poise charges again, and then just go in again. Boom, stunner, go back in, do a little bit more damage, get away from her, wait it out, try not to get hit. She's unblockable at this point. Got that heavy, and it's over with. Beautiful. That is Uncollected Infinity Chaos done. I gotta say, that was a pretty interesting fight. As you saw, I did not use any items on that one. So the only one that I had trouble with was Corvus, I think his name is. Corvus or Corvius. But he's the only one I ended up using something like 3 revives against him. And healed up, of course. But other than that, it was a pretty decent challenge. Shouldn't have too much trouble with it, provided that you play well. And of course, having a strong roster makes a big difference. Alright, so my final thoughts on the difficulty of this challenge. If you have, of course, 5-star rank 4s and a nice beefy roster, you're going to find this to be really easy. As long as you play decently. As you saw, I only used items on Corvus. Alright, if you're doing this with 4 stars, be prepared to use some items. How many resources you end up using will depend on your particular skill level. So that's going to do it, guys. If you liked the video, please consider smashing that like button. It really helps me out. If you have not subscribed already, please consider giving me a subscription. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you thought about this video. If you want to support the channel, in the description below, I have a link to my Patreon account. You can follow that link and become a patron and help the channel out. And you guys have a blessed day.